So hello and welcome to everyone joining us today. Thank you for being here for our virtual theater department student panel. I am joined today by three amazing students who are really excited to share their Walnut Hill experiences with you and answer any questions that you may have. You can write your questions in the Q&A box at any time, and we will get to as many as we can in the 45 minutes that we have. This webinar will be recorded. My name is Dempsey Schott, and I am an Assistant Director of Admission here at Walnut Hill School for the Arts. I also graduated from Walnut Hill as a theater major in 2014. I will let our panelists introduce themselves with their name, grade, and hometown, starting with Maya.
Hi, my name is Maya. I am a senior from Bermuda.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm a junior, and I'm from Needham, Massachusetts.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a sophomore, and I'm from Millis, Massachusetts.
All right, thank you guys so much. So the first question is, how many theater classes do you have each week, and what are those classes? Does anyone want to tackle that? Yeah, Maya.
Okay, so first off, I want to say that all of the classes vary depending on which grade you're in, but generally you have 2 dance classes a week, 2 musical theater classes a week, 2 acting classes a week, and then 2 design and production classes a week. But for example, like I'm a senior, so I have like Shakespeare as part of my acting curriculum, but it changes for every grade.
Perfect, thank you. And that sort of leads us into our next question, which is, what are the main differences between being an underclassman theater major versus being an upperclassman theater major?
I'll tackle that one because I came in as a sophomore. I think as an underclassman, you really have a chance to scope out and see what's going to happen in future years. For the main stage productions, you usually get to be a techie backstage and get to know all the secrets and get to know how things work at Walnut Hill. And then you have more performance opportunities when you're a junior and senior to be main stage and get ready for college kind of stuff, but Maya was saying. And even as an underclassman, you have freshman, sophomore review and children's to have an opportunity to perform on stage.
Awesome. Sound good to Ryan and Maya? Covered it? Perfect. So out of all of the classes for the theater major that you guys take, what class has been your favorite and which one has pushed you the most? I would love to hear from everyone on this one. Yeah, Ryan, you can start us off.
I would say for me, the same class as the one that pushed me the most and my favorite would be movement. Because like before Walnut Hill, I wasn't such like a big dancer. And when I had like my first class in movement, I just fell in love in my freshman year and I love it so much.
Yeah, Lily.
I think for me, I've grown the most and learned the most in my acting classes. You'll very quickly learn that every class has some sort of aspect of acting, whether you're dancing and using your face or you're singing and you have to connect with your character. But you learn how much you use it on a daily basis. And I think we learn from a lot of different professional methods. Right now, as a junior, we're learning about Shirtlift's 12 guideposts. And you have all these different opportunities and materials that you can use. And in the end, it's what makes you a better actor. And you can come up with your own little toolbox to help you along the way.
I would say it's hard to choose a favorite because they really are all so great and like unique in their own way. My favorite would probably be acting, only because I've just grown so much in that class. And you just learn so many different things, and it's great because you can use it in all of your other classes. The most challenging for me would probably be musical theater. I came in as a new junior and I had never really had like proper like voice training and things like that. So that was probably the most challenging, but also the most fun as well.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing those experiences with us. Can someone talk about how many productions and performance opportunities there are in a typical year? Yeah, Ryan, go for it.
So there's about 6. So in the fall, there's a fall musical review, and then there's also like a fall play. And then in the winter, there's a children's musical. There's student directed, which is like 3 student directed plays. And then there's also the winter Shakespeare play. And then in the spring, there's a spring musical.
Awesome. Great. And we have a question from someone in the audience. What is the casting/audition process like for plays and musicals? Does anyone want to talk about that? Yeah, Maya, go for it.
So the process as a whole, I would say, is a learning experience, very stress-free. They just want you to come in and just show who you are and just have fun doing it. So definitely no stress is attached to it. In terms of like who usually would get cast, priority mainly goes to returning juniors and seniors, only because they've been there for the longest time and have like the shortest time left. But then if you're a freshman, you never know, or a sophomore, or even like a new junior like me, I got cast in the first season. So you really never know what's gonna happen. But if you're not cast in a show, then you're working backstage. So you're always some way like you're involved in it.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, Lily.
Yeah, process-wise, I think we just got material from the show, like a 32-bar cut. You sing it in front of them, and they have callbacks sometimes. They might give you sides. Everything's through email. Again, it's super low stress. They just want to see what you can do on your feet.
Awesome. Great. Thank you guys for that. What would you say makes a Walnut Hill theater class or musical theater class or movement class different from a typical high school drama class? Anyone can answer. Yeah, Lily.
I think the biggest difference is kind of the atmosphere that we set up for ourselves. Walnut Hill, so surprisingly, is not competitive whatsoever. Everyone there has the same goal and motivations, and so you're all there to push each other and make each other better. And that's the biggest difference, because when you're going into a class, maybe these are the people that you're competing against, but we're all learning the same things and we're all in the process together, and you in turn get so close with your class, and it's the relationships that you make at Walnut Hill that will last a lifetime.
Awesome. Great, Maya. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the relationships and the people that are in the class make like a world of a difference, seriously. And Walnut Hills community is like amazing to like grow in. You don't have to be nervous to walk into like a class you've never sang in before. Like it is the most comfortable space ever. And also the faculty is just amazing, and the detail that they give every student, like you get personal feedback in like every class you're in. And also the way the classes are structured, you learn from everyone. So like you give feedback and you learn how to take feedback from your classmates as well, which I feel like makes us into really mature students who are ready to go out into the world.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Ryan, has that also been your experience that the theater department is not a competitive place, it's a supportive place?
Yes, definitely. I think everyone is so supportive because, like Lily said, you're all pretty much learning the same thing. And you're not just close with, we're like one grade, you're all close. Even at, like a freshman can be friends with a senior, or yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Someone in the audience is wondering, how many theater majors are there in total and within each year? So if you could also talk about class sizes for those individual classes and how many people generally get cast, that would be great. Yeah, Ryan.
So I know for my freshman year, there's about 8 people, and we like doubled in size this year. And I think it just depends on the year, because like I think Lily's grade last year as a sophomore, there was like I think 3 or 4 new students, but for my grade when I was a sophomore, there was like 8 new students. So it just depends on the year.
Yeah, Maya.
In total for theater, I think there are 60, 60 of us or around that, I think. But yeah, the numbers vary with your grade. I think I have about 21 or 20 in my grade. And then in terms of class sizes, we're basically split in half, just to make it more intimate. Um, and then in terms of casting and shows, it depends on the scale of the show. Usually the plays are smaller, and then we have the bigger musicals, especially the spring musical is the biggest one. So it all depends.
Awesome. Great. We have another question here that is wondering, what kind of trips are there for the theater department each year? Yeah, Ryan.
I think there was supposed to be a trip to New York City to go see a show, but I don't think we got to go to that because of COVID. I think that's the only trip that I can think of that there is.
Yeah, Lily?
We have like some mini fun trips. One of the great parts about Walnut Hill is that it's in Natick and you can like go places. So Ryan and I, when we were in children's, we got to go to an elementary school and like perform a little small set from the show and like give back to the community doing what we loved, which was so amazing.
Yeah, Maya.
And there's also opportunities to go into Boston. I mean, like the theater scene in Boston's great. So sometimes Joe, the head of theater, would take us, or we just go by ourselves. Or like the colleges in the surrounding areas, we also go to their shows. Um, yeah, and they also bring people in for like master classes and workshops as well.
Awesome. Yes, it's definitely important to note that for those of you who have not been to our campus, we are just about a 10-minute walk from the commuter rail, which takes you right into the center of Boston. And our students, based on parent permissions, are allowed on the weekends to use that train to go into Boston to see shows on their own. Oftentimes, theater department or other clubs on campus, if there are shows that they really want students to see, whether they're in Boston or, like you said, at a college nearby, they'll run shuttle services and kind of get a group of tickets, a group of students together to all go together. So besides that, there is also generally a trip to New York City by bus that the whole theater department goes on. It happens in the spring. So unfortunately, they didn't get to go this past year. But we really care at Walnut Hill about taking advantage of being so close to Boston and not that far from New York City, and making sure our students get exposed to not just Walnut Hill theater, but professional theater outside. Awesome. So next question is, can you only be friends with other theater majors? I'm seeing no. Why? Say more. Yeah, Lily.
Because we also have academic classes in the morning, we get to take classes with all the different majors, and some of my best friends are not theater majors. I think it's easier because we have all of our afternoon arts classes with your grade and major. So the junior class this year is tiny. We have 14 of us, so we're all one big class, and we've turned into one big friend group. But it's so easy to go out of your major because you can go in the dining hall and sit with anybody you want. It's so easy to just, I don't know, branch out because especially at a boarding school, your roommate could be a different major than you.
Totally. Anyone have anything else to add to that? Just second the motion. Yeah, Maya?
Yeah, I would say definitely in the dorm also helps a lot. Because I mean, we spend a lot of time with our theater majors, but then being able to go back to the dorm and talk about things other than theater is sometimes what you need. So we have that at our fingertips, and it's great.
Awesome. I'm wondering if someone could talk a little bit about what the rehearsal schedule looks like if you are either cast in a show or on tech, and how much time you really spend in rehearsals during each season. Yeah, Lily.
I think rehearsals are, well, they're always after your classes. So you go to your dinner break and then you go back to rehearsal, and they're done around 10 o'clock. So you still have plenty of time to get your homework done. It's about a month before the show opens if you're in the cast. And if you're on tech, then you're just called to tech week unless you are a stage manager. And you guys get to like call the shows and get super close with the cast, and everything is. I think it's so cool that students studying theater get to learn both sides. You can be on stage or calling your spotlight ops. So.
Awesome, great. And I'm also wondering, Lily, as a day student, sort of how that felt to be at school so late. How was it to manage sort of transportation and things like that?
I loved being at school so late. It was so cool because I felt like one of the boarders and I could stay and then my parents would pick me up. But as an upperclassman, you can park your car on campus and then drive yourself home. But you also have an option to sleep on campus if you get it approved. And I think for one of the tech nights, we got out around 10 and I just slept over in one of my friend's dorms, and it was so great, so much fun.
Awesome. And for Lily or for Maya and Ryan, do you feel like there is a big difference between the experience of a boarding student and a day student? Is there a divide within the school between day and boarding students, or does it feel pretty cohesive? Yeah, Ryan.
Um, I don't think there's like a huge divide. I think there's definitely like at night, like the boarders are always like together and then the day students are home. But no, like everyone's like very close with each other and you can like go hang out with your friends in the dorm if that's like your affiliated dorm, or I think it depends like on what grade you are. You can go at like after like 6 for a little bit to hang out with any of your friends in any dorm.
Yeah, Lily.
I had all three meals on campus, so it felt like I was boarding there. And the campus center, I think Ryan and I were morning buddies. I got there at 6:15 because my parents had to work. But there's plenty of space to stay on campus, so it feels like when everyone's awake, you're with your friends all the time. And I think as a day student, you have a little bit more flexibility to go off campus and like I don't know, see your parents and stuff. But it's really no big difference because you can hang with your boarding students and any friends that you keep from home.
Awesome. And Maya, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I'm a boarder, and some of my best friends are day students because, like Lily and Ryan both said, it's really not a divide. Day students, a lot of them eat all three meals there, so we're always together. Like I'm leaving my room in the morning, and they're all coming in. So it's like I'm leaving from my house, and they're coming from their house. It's great.
Awesome. Thank you guys. So for someone who's coming from not an arts focused high school or middle school, they might never have had homework in their arts classes before. Can you guys talk about what homework looks like in an arts class and how much time you spend on arts homework versus academic homework? Yeah, Lily.
I like to get my art homework done first because it's fun. It's a lot of practicing, running through your song, writing up rehearsal reports. You have to rehearse with partners, at least for acting, about 2 hours a week. So the learning doesn't stop on campus. You can keep going. And I don't know, it's a lot about how much you put in, is how much you're going to get out of the curriculum, which is really rewarding.
Yeah, Maya.
Yeah, like Lily said, it's really about how much time you put in outside of class. Um, we have to meet with a partner and then do up a rehearsal report. So like, it's really however much time you spend on that. Technically, we're supposed to spend 2 hours, but I mean, you can tell when someone comes into class and they've spent that 2 hours with their partner, or if they've spent like 15 minutes. So it's really how much time you want to put in and how much you want to grow. They treat us like adults, especially in arts. So.
Awesome. Thank you. I am wondering if anyone could speak to the experience that you have had in a remote learning environment, because I think a lot of people can sort of picture what it might look like to take an English class online or a math class online, but maybe not something like musical theater or a movement class. So what has that experience been like for you guys, and what have you learned or gained from it? Maya?
Coming from the perspective of a senior, and all of us, if we're applying to MT colleges, we're going to have to do this. You have to do like pre-screens for college. So being remote has really shown me like how to properly self-tape and how to properly like portray what like your emotions into a camera. So that's been great. And the faculty have helped us through that and given us tips on that. And I don't feel like I would have been as good as I am now at self-taping if it wasn't for remote learning. In terms of like how kind of musical theater works online, our teachers would send us a recording of our piano track, and we play that from a speaker in class and we sing, and it works very well. To most of our surprise. But yeah.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, like Maya said, the faculty has done such a great job helping us learn in remote learning because I remember, like in the springtime, it was a little difficult at first, but I think we all got used to it. And then when we came back in the fall, they just I saw like a huge improvement, and I think they just like I said before, it helped us learn so much.
Thank you. And Lily, did you have something to add to that? Yeah.
Yeah, I have learned so much about being flexible, time management, and self-discipline over remote learning because you're pretty much on your own. And it's a great test for real life to see like how much, I don't know, you can get yourself to work as hard as you can. And although my family doesn't love it when I tap on my hardwood floor, it's really cool to do it in your own house because it's like your safe space, but you're still with the people that you're learning and growing with.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. So some students, come to Walnut Hill or are thinking about applying to Walnut Hill from a variety of different backgrounds. So for a student who maybe has acted in a lot of plays but has never sang before or never danced before, what would you say to a student who is considering applying to Walnut Hill? Yeah, Lily.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a factor at all. We're all at different spots. Like, I was not a dancer coming in, and now I think dance is one of my favorite classes. And I think the teachers do such a great job about knowing where we all are on like levels, but everyone gets the one-on-one attention that they deserve, and we all grow no matter where we start. We're all going to get better and push to be better performers.
Awesome. Cool. I was hoping that some of you could also talk a little bit about, although it was a bit ago for most of you, your audition experience at Walnut Hill and what it was like meeting Joe Cabral, our director of theater, and auditioning for him, and how that experience helped influence your decision to come to Walnut Hill. Yeah, Maya, I saw your hand first.
Oh gosh, my audition. It was an experience. It was my first like official audition, and I was so nervous. But like as soon as I stepped foot on campus, I met my admissions like person, and they took me over to Kiter to audition with Joe, and like I just felt so comfortable. Like the people that were around me for that whole process just made me like so calm. And Joe, I mean, Joe can be a little intimidating when you first meet him, but when you get to know him, he is actually such a great person. And I mean, I cried in my audition just because I mean, like the questions he was asking, it was just so personal, and he really wanted to know us for who we were. Um, and just to see where we were going to grow. He's not really testing like if you're the most talented person in the world. It's really about who you are as a person and like how much you're willing to work that he really wants to see.
Great. Thank you, Maya. Ryan, did you have something to add to that? Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I was also very nervous, and I think my song choice I chose, so I sang Just Can't Wait to Be King, and I think my song choices for musical theater have definitely grown because um like before I came to Walnut Hill, I didn't know like any musical theater songs, and now I know a lot. And also, like Maya said, the questions he asked were very personal, and I think that changed my point of view as an actor and as a person.
Awesome. Thank you. I think it's great for students who are gearing up for their audition to Walnut Hill to hear about it. And for all those listening today, we do have a virtual open house page where you can actually watch a video from Mr. Joe Cabral on some tips and tricks to prepare for your audition. So you can kind of get his vibe face to face before you go into your audition. I'm hoping we can talk a little bit more about what the balance between academics and arts is at Walnut Hill. Some students are coming from very artistic environments, some are coming from more academic environments. So in your daily life, in terms of homework and class time and sort of importance of both academics and arts, how do you feel that balance is? Maybe for, you can all speak to this because you're all in different places in the Walnut Hill curriculum. What is that balance like? Yeah, Maya.
I came from a very academic school, and I love my academics. So, I mean, when I was leaving to like go to Walnut Hill, everybody was like, it's gonna be so easy. Like, it's just an art school, like, but academics at Walnut Hill are rigorous as well. Like the academics and arts are like right at the same level. Yeah, so I wouldn't say either one outweighs another. at different times of year, say if you're in a show, maybe your arts are a little more stressful than your academics. But they're definitely equal. And the teachers all understand what we're going through. They know we're artists. They know we have other things to focus on, which is one of the reasons why I came to Walnut Hill, because my teachers at my other school were like, academics, academics, academics. And I was like, no, but I want to sing too. So the teachers at Walnut Hill understand that, and they help us through that.
Awesome. Yeah, Lily.
I think exactly what Maya said, how the teachers know that we're artists, and I think they try to implement a little bit into our academics. I think on the day that I toured, I was in Miss Cohane's bio class, and we were explaining the different types of symbiosis, and she was like, now make a skit, go ahead. And that was the moment I was like, this is where I'm going, because I don't know, you use your arts to help you learn, and they're both helping each other, and you're going to be a better person from coming to Walnut Hill if you want to be a biochemist or someone on Broadway. So.
Awesome. And Ryan, your experience?
Well, I agree with what everyone is saying. And yeah, like my middle school they had a drama program. It wasn't the best. But I went to like a different school to do drama. It wasn't like in the school, but it was like outside of the school kind of. And after eighth grade, I kind of like graduated from that because it was all like children musical type of stuff. And I wanted to go to like more mature level type of musicals and plays. And I think Walnut Hill just had that. And they don't just have like all mature, because there's a children's musical, and that is a children's musical. And yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Maya.
Just wanted to add one more thing. The communication between the arts and academic faculty is like very good. So especially like going through like college process stuff, they communicate, and so they understand the workloads, which I think is really good, because they always know kind of what's happening in both fields.
Awesome. So obviously you guys all have a lot on your plates in terms of your academic classes and your arts classes, but Walnut Hill is still a high school and a strong community. I'm hoping some of you guys can speak to the amount of time you might have to hang out with friends or be in a club or hold a leadership position, and what that looks like at Walnut Hill, because obviously we have these two huge programs full of curriculum, but you guys want to have opportunities to participate in other things too. Can anyone sort of tackle what that looks like at Walnut Hill for a theater major? Yeah, Lily.
Absolutely. I'm junior class president, and I always like find ways in my classes, if I'm like thinking about like, oh, I could do this for a theme night. There's plenty of time, and I don't know, if it's important to you, obviously you will work it into your own schedule, and especially being remote, I think we have a lot more freedom on what we spend our time on. I still go to Maddie's house, who goes to Walnut Hill once a week, and we play with her puppy. It's, even though it sounds super, super rigorous, you will get better at time management, and you will eventually come out a completely different person who is ready for the world.
Awesome. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? Yeah, Maya.
Yeah, definitely all about time management. Like, you will make time for things that you're passionate about. I know, I mean, like weekends, we always have weekends to like breathe. Especially being a boarder, there's always things going on campus, or if you want to go off on like a Target run to just get away, then yeah, you have time to breathe. And then teachers also understand that we need the time. So some weeks they'll be like, okay, no academic, or no, we always have academic homework, no like arts homework, you know what I mean? So yeah, you get your time.
Awesome. Thank you. I know you're all in different grades, so this question might be a little bit more directed towards Maya, but what are the sort of supports in place for the college process? And do you feel pressure to go to either an academic or artistic place after Walnut Hill? And in your experience, where do many students choose to go?
I'll talk about it. I'm going through it right now. Well, we each get assigned a college counselor for our junior year that carries us all the way through to the end of senior year. And they're really like your right hand man. They're there for you through the whole thing. They're so supportive. They provide you with all the resources you need, looking at your personal essays. You don't feel pressured to go to either one. I think that's the beauty of Walnut Hill. The college counselors are experienced in both art schools and academically rigorous schools. So they help you with the arts part, but they also help you with the academic part. So yeah, you're not pressured to go either way.
Absolutely. I think that's totally right. When I was a student at Walnut Hill, my college counselor helped me sort through the different options, and I ended up going the academic route at a liberal arts college where I could study English as I took, some theater classes and be in theater productions on the side. But I had many, many friends who went to conservatories because that's where they felt it was their best fit. So I think Walnut Hill's college counseling department really wants to make sure that you have as many years at Walnut Hill of amazing experience of both strong academics and strong arts, so that going into that college process, you can really make a decision about what you want for your experience for the next 4 years. So as we wrap up here, I'm hoping each of you can share why you chose Walnut Hill, or why, Walnut Hill is such an amazing place to you, why you might choose it again. And Ryan, we can start with you.
Okay, so originally my mom was looking for an art school for my brother because he was kind of into like filming and like visual art stuff. And he kind of liked it, but he kind of like fell more into like the academic side of like schoolwork. And then I was in love with theater, and my mom was like, "Why don't you audition for Walnut Hill?" So I looked into it and I took a tour and I just loved it. So I was like, "Let's audition for it." And it was just a great experience, and yeah.
Thank you. Lily?
Sure. Growing up in the area, Walnut Hills theater productions were always a highlight of my year. And I would go and see these high school students performing like Broadway actors. And I was like, I want to do that. And theater was always on my mind since I was the 5-year-old girl. And I went to summer camp at Interlochen, which is another art school in the US, but it's really remote and it was like kind of cold and sad. But at Walnut Hill, we have all of these resources, and we're much closer to like civilization. And we could go to New York City and see all of these Broadway shows. But Walnut Hill's community is so amazing, and the people that I'm meeting, I know that I'm gonna be seeing them in their field wherever they decide to go. And everyone's just so nice and friendly, and I'm growing as a person if I don't even decide to go into arts. So
Awesome. Thank you. And Maya?
So for me, I said this before, but I came from a really academic school. And then also I'm from Bermuda, so it's a super small island. So I just outgrew kind of the theater scene. And my teachers weren't really understanding that like I wanted to do the arts as well, because it's not really a big thing here. So yeah, I started looking for boarding schools, and I looked in the US and the UK, but then I kept coming back to Walnut Hill. I was like, something about this place. But it's definitely the community. I think like every time I step foot on campus, like everyone is just so supportive and so inclusive. And you just feel like a family, like as soon as you get there, like even from the admissions office, like getting like a chocolate from the front desk, like it's a family, it really is. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Ryan, Lily, and Maya are all on their quarter break right now. They're actually on a full week off. So they were so, so kind and generous with their time for all of us today. So I cannot thank you guys enough for being here and answering all the questions from our attendees. Thank you to everyone who has signed on to watch this webinar. We really look forward to working with you throughout the admissions process. Please, please take advantage of the resources that are on that virtual admission center and virtual open house page. Everyone in the admissions office is really excited to meet you and work with you. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you think of any more questions. I hope everyone has a lovely rest of their Wednesday, and we will talk to you soon.